Today I'm going to be making a lot of meals for one or two. I'm actually making these for my son's girlfriend. She's awesome. We love her so much, and she is starting a new job this week. So this is the absolute perfect time to get her freezer stacked with some meals that she can easily heat up at the end of a day. She's a nurse, and what she does makes such a huge difference. She actually just started working at our local children's hospital. Super proud of her. She's always made a difference, but this job is like above and beyond. And so I'm excited to be able to help her in this small way. This is partially also a birthday gift for her. So join me and we will get these meals made together. I'm also going to be showing you how you can portion out freezer meals to make them into individual portions or servings for two, which is a great way to save time, money, and of course, that ever important mental space. Let's get started. One of the best things that you can do if you're going to be making a lot of meals at once like we are today is to prep your ingredients ahead. So yesterday I went ahead and prepped all of the ingredients that we're going to need for today so that I'm as prepared as possible. It helps for a variety of reasons. One is then you're sure that you have what you need. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to work with one protein at a time. So instead of making, like, let's say all your soups together or all your casseroles together or all your sheet pan meals together or whatever, we're going to be doing one protein at a time. The reason for this is because if you take a protein out of the fridge, better to get it used and get those meals put in the freezer. And then you're also not going to have cross-contamination, especially when we're working with raw chicken in a little bit. So that's one of the reasons. The other reason is just so much faster because you have everything out. Then you can get things assembled as quickly as possible. We've just got one recipe that calls for browned sausage, so we're gonna make that first so that we get this used up, and then we can go back to the fridge and grab the next protein that we're gonna do. One of the things that's great about doing your prep the day before is then it allows your ingredients to cool. So we did brown our sausage on the stovetop. Now it's been sitting in the fridge overnight, so it's nice and cool. Because if you put warm ingredients or hot ingredients into your freezer bag, then it causes condensation and that can lead to freezer burn. So just one quick tip before we get started here on our gnocchi sausage skillet. We're using the refrigerated gnocchi that you can get in the store near the fresh pastas. I find that this cooks up super easily. It goes really well in freezer meals. Now, it's interesting to me because on these bags, I'm gonna bring it over and show you. It says right there, I don't know if you can see that. Do not freeze. It says do not freeze. And the thing about this is that I discovered about 2 years ago that gnocchi freezes beautifully, like incredibly. Now, I don't know what would happen if I took this container and just tossed it by itself into the freezer. That may not end very well for me because it does say do not freeze. However, if I take this and I put it into a meal and then I freeze it, it's amazing. So we actually on our website have, I don't know, at least 5 or 6 gnocchi recipes, and we've got even more to come because we recently invented yet another one. So we've got skillet gnocchi meals, one pot, sheet pan, like it seems like however we're cooking gnocchi, it's working. So yes, it does say do not freeze, but we're gonna break the rules today. We're gonna add our browned Italian sausage into our freezer bags. Then we're gonna add in that potato gnocchi, some chopped onion, minced garlic. We use our garlic from a jar. It just makes it so much faster. Some diced tomatoes. We're just gonna divide that between the bags. Chicken broth, pepper, and some basil. Then we're gonna put some shredded mozzarella cheese and Parmesan cheese into 2 other bags. We're gonna get the air out of both of those bags because when you're freezer cooking, air can lead to freezer burn. And then we're gonna staple them together above the seal. That way she will have everything she needs for cooking day. When she goes to make this, she's gonna thaw it and just cook this in a skillet. This is done in 5 or 6 minutes, which is going to be perfect for those busy days. Now, you can also stir in some spinach at that point, just until it's wilted. And then you're gonna wanna top it with some cheese, cover it, and cook it for another like 4 to 5 minutes. So in 11 minutes, dinner is on the table and she can relax. Wanna know something kind of funny? One of the containers that I took out of the fridge that I thought had prepped ingredients actually had leftovers in it. Anyway, I'm gonna put that back in the fridge. But that was leftover chicken and peppers that was in the slow cooker yesterday. And it's gonna make a great thing for our leftover buffet this weekend. Let me get that put away. While I was over there, I grabbed out the next protein, which is gonna be our beef strips for the ginger beef. And all I'm doing is dividing this recipe in 2. So we're making the full recipe, dividing it into 2 quart-size bags instead of 1 large freezer bag. And we're gonna make this one right in the bags. And so we'll just add our beef strips into the bags here. I'm gonna get my hands washed up and I'm actually gonna give the counter a wipe afterwards because of course we are, as always, avoiding that cross-contamination. On top of those beef stir-fry strips, add some thinly sliced onion, minced garlic, minced ginger, we like to use the squeezy tube kind, beef broth, and soy sauce. We're gonna squish all that together to combine it, seal it, and freeze it. For this one, it can either be cooked in the slow cooker or in a skillet. Next, we're gonna make a sun-dried tomato gnocchi. There's no protein in this, and since we've got our gnocchi out anyway, we're just gonna go ahead and keep making gnocchi recipes. Obviously, Sam, our son's girlfriend, is a fan of gnocchi, so we're gonna put our gnocchi in our bags. Then we're gonna add some sun-dried tomatoes, vegetable broth, heavy cream, shredded Parmesan cheese, minced garlic from a jar, basil, we're using fresh today, red pepper flakes, salt, and pepper. Then we're gonna add some shredded mozzarella cheese to some medium bags. We're gonna get as much air as we can out, seal it. We're gonna staple those bags together above the seal and freeze them. This one just gets cooked in a skillet for 5 to 10 minutes and then topped with that cheese. Let the cheese melt and eat it. So 10 minutes and dinner is ready. I don't think I mentioned this before, but what I had Sam do is she went into the Freezer Meals 101 Club and chose the recipes that she wanted. She texted those to me and then I went in there myself and I created a meal plan just for her. As you'll see here, just added the recipes and sometimes I doubled them. I didn't half any of them because I figured I would just make the whole recipe and divide it in half and that way she would end up with 2 meals. In some cases, there's like a meal that makes, there's a soup we're doing today that makes like a lot. And so in that case, we'll probably be dividing it into like 3, 4, or even 5 freezer bags, depending. So then I took that and was able to print off my grocery list, which included my prep list. And then I was able to go and select the printable labels for each of those meals and print those off. The really awesome thing about the printable labels is that now she's gonna have the cooking instructions, so I won't have to be like answering questions every day about, so how do you cook these? Like, thank you so much for the recipes, but what do I do with them? So I think that's gonna be a really handy thing. I love the cooking instructions for myself, but I love them even more when I'm gifting freezer meals because it just takes all the guesswork out of it. So you can check out more about the Freezer Meals 101 Club in the description down below. Next, we're gonna move on to some chicken recipes. The first one that we're gonna do is the only one we're doing with raw chicken. So we're gonna get that out of the way first, again, just so that we can like decontaminate after and just be using the one protein. So I'm gonna go and grab out our chicken, and then we're gonna divide it into 2 bags, but I think for this one I might use large bags still. Yeah, I think I'm gonna use large bags. I'm debating, but yeah, let me go grab that. What we're making is Mediterranean chicken sheet pan. It is seriously like one of my personal favorites, and Sam has had it at our house, so I'm not surprised that she's picked this one. I also love sheet pan meals because everything's ready all at the same time. I like to trim some of the, you know, extra bits off the chicken thighs. Chicken thighs are so much more tender, they stay moist better, but they are a little bit more finicky, I find, like when you're trimming them. There's more to trim off. Sometimes you can even get like small bones. So I do suggest that you go ahead and trim them. Sometimes I even do this part as part of my prep, but didn't do that this time. Oh, see, I found a tiny little bone. Good thing I checked. Okay, I'm gonna wipe down and wash up and we'll get these started. We've got our boneless, skinless chicken thighs in our bags. We're gonna add some purple onion that's cut into big chunks, some sun-dried tomato and oregano salad dressing, minced garlic, Greek seasoning, dried or fresh mint, lemon juice, capers, and pitted Kalamata olives. We're gonna squish that together to combine it, get out our air, seal it, freeze it. When you go to make this, you're gonna line your baking sheet with parchment paper. Then you're gonna just dump the contents of that bag onto your baking sheet. Then you're gonna add some baby tomatoes, stir that in just to coat them with some of that sauce. And then you just bake this for 25 minutes. Now you can sprinkle this with some crumbled feta and broil it for a few minutes to crisp that feta up at the end if you like. This can also be cooked in the air fryer instead, which I have the feeling she is going to do because she loves her air fryer. And then this can be served over couscous or rice, and if you want, you can do a side Greek salad. This one is deceptively, unbelievably amazing. Next, we're gonna move on to our cooked chicken meals. We're gonna make 2 cooked chicken meals. So, of course, for prep, we just cooked and cubed up the chicken so that it's totally ready for today. And again, it sat in the fridge overnight, so it's nice and cool and can go into our bags just like this. I think she chose really great meals for this because like both of them are some of my favorites. She and I may have similar taste in food apparently. Anyway, the first one is our Marry Me Chicken 1-pot Orzo. It's awesome that it's 1 pot, so there's less to clean. Now in this case, it actually only serves like 3 or 4 as a full recipe. So I'm just gonna make 1 bag for her, and that way she can have it and then she can take the leftovers to lunch, or she can have it one night if she has my son over for supper or if she's got friends over or whatever. I think it's just gonna work best to do it in 1 large bag instead of trying to divide it into 2 bags. I don't think that that would really be enough, and there definitely wouldn't be enough for leftovers if we did it that way. So that's what we're doing. We're gonna add a bit of shredded Parmesan cheese into 1 bag. And then in our other bag, we're gonna add our cooked and cubed chicken, minced garlic, sun-dried tomatoes, paprika, oregano, pepper, chicken broth, and heavy cream. Now you're gonna need 1 cup of Orzo pasta on the day you go to make this. Because I wanna make this as easy for her as possible, I'm actually gonna put that pasta in a quart-sized bag, and I'm gonna staple that onto the large bag so that she has everything that she needs. Because this is a 1 pot, you just dump the large bag contents into your pot. You stir the Orzo right in there and it cooks up as the rest of it cooks up. So 12 to 14 minutes and this is completely done. Then you're gonna stir in that Parmesan and serve it. The other cooked chicken meal that we're gonna make is chicken and a mango cream sauce, one of my like all-time favorites. It's so good, and I know our son loves it too. And that's why for this one, I am gonna divide it, but only in 2 bags. So it serves 6 people. Dividing it into 2 will serve, 2 or 3 at least. And it's really nice because this is just a really quick reheat. You're gonna have to make the pasta to go along with it. But other than that, the chicken's already cooked. So this is a very fast dinner to get on the table. And it sort of includes all the things you need for a complete meal, especially once you cook that pasta up. So we've got our boneless, skinless chicken breasts in our bags. Then we're gonna add some thinly sliced purple onion, some sliced red pepper, minced garlic, Madras curry paste, flour. Then we're gonna close those up and give them a good shake. Then we're gonna open them and add in some chicken broth, some mango juice, evaporated milk, mango chutney, and red pepper flakes. We're gonna close those again, get everything mixed, remove our air, seal it, and freeze it. This one just needs to be heated in a skillet or even in the microwave, and you can serve this over long noodles like a spaghetti. I like to top it with some Parmesan cheese and red pepper flakes. Next, we're gonna move along to ground beef meals. I'm gonna make her that one soup, the one that I said feeds a lot of people, and we're gonna have to see how many bags it divides into. And what we're gonna do for that is mix it in a giant bowl and then divide it out. It's not gonna work to like put just a little bit of this and a little bit of that into a whole bunch of separate bags, especially because I don't even really know how many bags I should be dividing this into. So it's just gonna work a lot better to mix everything together in a big bowl and then divide it out. Now, another option I would have with this soup is I could actually cook the soup on the stove top and then divide it out into bags, and then all she would need to do is quickly reheat it. If I was doing it that way, I would probably put it into microwave safe containers, but I know that she's gonna be using these soups for winter days. It's kind of nice to cook them up fully because then you get like the smells in your house and it's just like really homey. So for this particular Hamburger Hoobie Soup, I am going to keep everything in here raw other than the cooked ground beef and let her cook them up on the day of. For the other soup that we're doing, which we're not gonna do in our ground beef section, but we are gonna get to it next. That is one that is fully cooked, and we're actually not doing it today. That one we did, Christy and I did a video recently where we completely reimagined dill pickle soup and we made it our own. We actually made it to be a spicy dill pickle soup because she and I both like things a little bit spicy. I like them spicier, but yeah, we both like some kick in things. So we made this spicy dill pickle soup. Now, Sam did not request the dill pickle soup on her list because at the time it wasn't even in the Freezer Meals 101 Club. It is now, so you can check that out. Link is in the description down below, but at the time it wasn't in there, so she didn't even know it existed. But I'm excited to surprise her with a bag or 2 because she loves dill pickles. She actually requested for her birthday supper this year. For our kids' birthday suppers, we do like they're allowed to request whatever they want for food. And then we have, you know, family, grandparents, all of that over at our house. And, you know, so for her birthday dinner this year, this was the first year that we hosted her birthday dinner, she chose my dill pickle pasta salad. Now that cannot be a freezer meal, so I can't make that for her today. But it gave me the idea to give her at least a bag or two of our dill pickle soup. I think she's gonna love those. So I'll tell you how we made that, but we're not making it today. We're just gonna grab a bag or two out of the freezer and give those to her. So let's get to this first soup, our Hamburger Hoobie Soup, and then we're gonna do our next ground beef meal, and then the other soup. Because again, I really want you to like practice what I preach here in terms of doing like proteins at the same time. So for this Hamburger Hoobie Soup, into our bowl, we are going to add some ground beef that's been browned and cooled, diced onion, peeled and chopped carrots. You can add celery if you want. I don't usually have celery because I'm allergic. Some diced tomatoes, a can of condensed tomato soup, some barley, bay leaf, parsley, thyme, and pepper. We're gonna get that all mixed together and then we're gonna portion it out. And as it turns out, it made 5 quart-sized bags. So I think this is gonna be awesome for her to have. I'm really glad after seeing like how it portioned out that I didn't attempt to make this into the bags directly. It also allows like everything to get sort of an equal amount and all the right flavors, and I'll make sure that everything is like melded well. This next ground beef recipe is our Firecracker ground beef stir fry. And I think the fact that she chose this shows you why I think she's gonna like our spicy dill pickle soup because she's not afraid of something with a kick. So for this Firecracker ground beef stir fry, I am going to divide it into 2 bags. So we're gonna put half of our ground beef that's been browned and cooled into one and half into the other. And we're gonna add some frozen green beans, some sliced red pepper, sliced onion, minced garlic. Again, we just use our garlic from a jar. Some squeezy tube ginger, honey, Frank's Red Hot Sauce, rice wine vinegar, salt, pepper, and red pepper flakes. We're gonna squish that around in the bag to combine it. We're gonna get as much air as we can out of there, seal it, and freeze it. When she goes to make this, she can just heat this up in a skillet or a wok. Seriously, like 7 to 10 minutes and her dinner will be completely done. You want to serve this one over rice or some kind of rice noodle. Okay, now I'm going to tell you what we did to make that spicy dill pickle soup. We heated together some chicken broth, peeled and quartered potatoes, peeled and chopped carrots, and butter in a large stovetop pot. We brought that to a boil, reduced the heat to a simmer, and then cooked it until the potatoes were tender. It took about 20-25 minutes for that. It does depend on how small you quarter your potatoes. Then you're gonna add in a cup of dill pickles and continue to simmer that for a bit. Then you're gonna mix together some water and flour in a shaker and stir that into your soup. You're gonna add in some sour cream and continue to stir it. Then you're gonna add in some pickle juice. I know it sounds weird, but trust me, this soup is amazing. And your seasonings, which is Cajun seasoning, dill, dry mustard powder, cinnamon, nutmeg, cayenne, salt, and pepper. You're going to get that soup to a simmer again, just cook it for 5 more minutes, and then you're gonna take it off the heat. You're gonna take an immersion blender and run the immersion blender through it. Blend it until it's nice and smooth, and then you're gonna add more sliced dill pickles. This soup is very pickle forward. Once it's cool, then you're gonna portion it into either freezer bags or into super cubes. We did both actually the day that we made it. We had enough to fill 2 trays of super cubes plus 2 quart-size freezer bags because we had doubled the recipe. And then with the super cubes, once they're fully frozen, we pop them out and put them into large freezer bags. So in this case, I'm gonna give Sam like some of the quart-size ones, not the super cube ones, because I'm keeping those for myself because they are portioned into 1 cup servings, which is perfect for me for lunches since I work from home. I know that I said at the beginning of the video that I don't know what you call her. She's not our daughter-in-law yet. I should not say that out loud, but we are hoping. Anyway, no pressure to our son or anything. But anyway, we love her a whole lot, and she does feel like part of the family, but she's not officially part of the family yet, so I'm not sure what to call her beyond our son's girlfriend, and that doesn't quite seem to be enough for the sentiment that I feel towards her. But anyway, I was mentioning that she is a nurse and does such important work, and I just want to take a minute and say thank you to any of you that are nurses. If you've watched our videos for a while, then you might know that several of our kids have pretty high medical needs. So over the years, we have been in and out of hospital a lot. One of our daughters still gets regular hospital treatments every 4 weeks. So we are there. You know, I always kind of joke that we should get frequent flyer miles or whatever. And another one of our daughters actually just recently was in hospital for 11 days. So over the years, like we've had kids have surgeries, like a lot. I don't know, it's probably getting up to about in the range of maybe, I think we're only at 6 surgeries. I was thinking it was more than that, but it just feels like more than that because they are so darn stressful. Like when your child is having surgery, that is a really, really stressful experience. So all that to say that over the years, I have just developed such a huge appreciation for nurses and all that they do. And I know there's nurses in a lot of different capacities, not just in hospitals. And I know this because we've encountered them too in specialists' office, in doctors' offices, you know, working with the elderly. I know a nurse that does phone care. So there are so many things that nurses do, but I just want to say, if you are a nurse, like, thank you so much. It is not an easy job. My sister-in-law was a nurse for many, many years and is retired, and I have heard her stories. I have friends who are nurses and I've heard their stories, and I just know that it can take a toll on you because it is such a caregiving profession and it just requires so much of you, not just being on your feet for so many hours and having to, you know, take on all the brain space stuff, but also really, really involving your heart. And I know that's the biggest piece that can take a toll after a while. So I just want to again say thank you from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate what you do. If I could multiply what I'm doing today and like spread the love to all the nurses and give you all meals, I would. Since I can't, hopefully I can show you how to make your own, and this helps in a small way make your life a little bit easier. The next recipe that Sam chose, I had to laugh when I saw it because it's probably our son, the son that she's dating, it's probably his favorite recipe. When he lived at home, it was like, as soon as he would see it in the freezer, like the day I had made it, it's very recognizable. When I tell you what it is, you'll understand why it's recognizable. But as soon as he would see that in the freezer, he would be like, can we make that tonight? Can I make that? can I preheat the oven? Like it was just, you know. So I kind of have the feeling that she may have requested this with him in mind for those nights when they're eating together. And knowing that, I am just going to break this one into two. It is sheet pan sweet and sour meatballs. That's why it's so recognizable, because you've got the meatballs, you've got the sliced pineapple, you've got the green beans, like you got the sauce. It's very, you can see it in your freezer and know that that's what it is. So I think if I divide it into 2 bags, it normally feeds 6. That will be enough that it feeds like the 2 or 3 of them. They can serve it over rice and it will stretch. Now it won't give her leftovers that way, but if she's, let's say, having her parents over for dinner and also my son, then what she can do is take out both bags because they're identical. She can put them on the same sheet pan, bake them up, and it'll feed all of them. The recipe for this is in the description down below. What we're gonna do is we're going to divide our frozen pre-cooked meatballs, that's how easy this is, between our 2 bags. Then we're gonna add some frozen green beans and those pineapple slices that are drained, and then some sliced onion. We're gonna mix together some brown sugar, flour, vinegar, water, soy sauce, and ketchup in a bowl, and then we're gonna divide that sauce between the 2 bags. Then we're going to just, you know, again, squish it in there to combine it. We're gonna remove as much air as we can out of the bag. It is a little bit trickier when you're working with frozen ingredients. I find it's a little harder to get the air out, and also this is a lumpy one, but just do your best. And then we're gonna get that into the freezer. This is a sheet pan, so it just all cooks up together. You can line your baking sheet with parchment paper to make cleanup a little easier. This cooks up in 20 to 30 minutes, and then you do wanna serve it on rice. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you for keeping me company while I made these meals for a very special young lady in our life. And this video was kind of dedicated to all the nurses and really anybody in a caretaking position, because I know how much you give of yourself. And so hopefully once you learn to get meals in your freezer, then today you can give back to future you so that you have a little bit less on your plate. Again, you can find the links for the Freezer Meals 101 Club, for our website, freezermeals101.com, and for some of these specific recipes in the little description box down below this video. I'm so happy that we're gonna be able to bless Sam with these meals just to make her days a little bit easier as she adjusts to this new job. I'm again super, super proud of her for the work that she's gonna be doing with kids in our community. It is such important work, and I'm glad that I could play like a teeny tiny part in helping her do that. Thank you again for being here, and happy cooking.